you got a chance at life. Because there is something for you, even though you lost your job and even though you've got cancer, this great country that those guys on Omaha Beach died for, and those guys in the big one in WW2 over in the Asian Theater died for. They never thought America would be like this. But you know what? The righties tell us, well, they support the troops. It is so convoluted. It is so wrong. This is not the country that I grew up in, and I'm willing to pay more. I'm in the top 2%. And let me remind all you wonderful viewers this. All of the people on this network, all of the people on all the other networks, all of the people that work in New York on TV, they have health care. They have health care. And if they get cancer, they got nothing to worry about because they're going to get treated. But when you bring a real-life scenario to the Republican leadership in the form of a Cantor or a Boehner, you know what they do? They talk percentages with that woman with that problem in their gut. And how do you think her family feels? Do they feel very patriotic when they hear that? Do they feel better about America when they hear that that's the way it is? Do you think they would like to be in that long line in Canada if there really is a long line in Canada? When are we as a nation, and when are the Democrats as a organization going to stand up and say, you know, we've done a lot of things right as a country, but this is the one thing we've got screwed up. This for-profit stuff is a bad deal. We got people dying. In fact, we play percentages with them. There's a party out there that wants to give you a number, and if you're in line, you're in line. I know we're better than this. And I'm not afraid of Hitler. And I'm not afraid of socialism. And I'm not afraid to make a change. And I would rather be called all the names in the world and communicate with that lady and her family knowing that she got help, and stand up and say, I think the guys that were on Omaha Beach that sacrificed their life for this country, I think that's the kind of America they would want. Joining me now is Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania. He's a member of the Senate Help Committee. Senator, good to have you with us tonight.
Thanks, Ed. Good to be with you. Thank you.
I'm looking for language in all of the Republican proposals on what will stop the gouging, because the big issue now is you, the Democrats, you want to get a bipartisan agreement, okay? All right, I'll accept that. You want to work with them. I get that. But I'm looking for language in all of the Republican bills, and I don't see anything that deals with the constant gouging and the denial of care for the American people to address the scenario that we just played out here on this show. If there's something I'm missing, Senator, I'll give you the rest of the show to explain it.
No, Ed, you raise a great point. First of all, there's no sense of urgency with Republican politicians on this issue. There just isn't. And especially when you hear what Congressman Cantor just said. There's no sense of urgency, and there's also no credible counter-proposal to what we've been talking about for months. 44,230 people every single week lose their coverage, and you hear this, well, let's think about it some more. There's no sense of urgency, no sense of common purpose to get this done. When I hear people on the Republican side of the aisle in Washington talking about we've got to focus on the economy, I don't know where they've been. We passed a recovery bill that's working already, and not a single House Republican voted for it. And now they want to talk about who's working on the economy. Health care, unfortunately, right now is the driver of our long-term national debt. We've got to make sure that we address this now, not only for people that you just highlighted, and I hear it every day of the week. I sat in my office yesterday with a woman from Pennsylvania who had a similar story, has a very urgent medical need, and she can't get the kind of coverage, even with even under the umbrella of some kind of an insurance policy. This is the sense of the lack of a sense of urgency on their side is appalling, and they have to be able to tell the American people, what are you going to do to make sure that insurance companies are not denying people coverage because of a pre-existing condition, or gouging them with out-of-pocket costs, or preventing people from getting mammograms, or paying exorbitant prices for that, or putting lifetime caps on your coverage. And they're not, they don't seem to have any answers. They want to talk about the politics of Washington instead of talking about what real families are facing today, not years from now.
Senator Casey of Pennsylvania, I've got one final question I want to ask you tonight. What about the timing of this? The Republicans over on the Senate Finance Committee today, they wanted to draw it out another couple of weeks. What's your counter to that? I mean, can we have a timetable here?
We've been, Ed, you know better than I, we've been debating this issue for decades. We've been debating it intensively, at least since the early 1990s. We've got to get a bill done now, and that means in the next couple of weeks. The Finance Committee has worked, and I appreciate the fact they've tried to be bipartisan. We got to move and get this done, and we can do it because we proved it in the Health, Education, Labor, Pensions Committee. We got a bill out of our committee in the middle of July. They can get it done in this window. They can have the estimates on costs that they need. We can do this. We know what works, and I don't think we should delay it any longer.
Senator Casey, great to have you on. Keep up the fight. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ed.
For more, let me turn back to the House side for just a moment. Congressman Brian Bilbray from California, Republican. Congressman, good to have you with us tonight.
Great to be with you tonight.
I want solutions, and I want a fair conversation. Mr. Cantor, who's in a leadership role for the Republicans in your party, stood up and basically told this woman to go get charity and to go find a government program, and she doesn't have either one. So do the Republicans have a solution for this?
Hey, look, I'm somebody who worked on the safety net for the county of San Diego, 3 million people. There is solutions. But one of the biggest challenges we have is, as we talk back and forth, of what have we done in Washington to reduce the cost, the waste, the fraud? We talk about we're going to do it, but we really haven't been willing to do the heavy lifting of actually proving that we can manage these things and eliminate the fraud and waste that exists now.
I don't disagree with you on that, Congressman, but that woman stood up and asked the Republican leadership a question, and she was told to go get a charity. Now, is that what the Republicans are telling Steny Hoyer when Steny says, hey, come on in and let's work together on this? Is that what's being said?
Absolutely not. In fact, we know that there are a whole lot of services out there that aren't being tapped into, but the real big problem is the fact that both sides aren't willing to tell their buddies that, look, insurance companies, trial lawyers, you guys have got to give up some of your profits so that we can afford to have the type of health care that the American people would like to have.
Congressman, good to have you on tonight. I appreciate your time.